David Willis for us there, 2 days ahead of the inauguration of Joe Biden as the 46th American president. The tightest security in recent memory is in place in Washington. Officials seem determined to prevent any repeat of those events of January the 6th, when the Capitol, of course, was stormed by a pro-Trump mob. Let's speak now to Brette Steele. She specialises in preventing targeted violence. She works at the McCain Institute of International Leadership. Welcome. I know among many senior roles, you worked at the Department of Homeland Security as well, and with the Countering Violent Extremism Task Force. Do you think there will be trouble on Wednesday in Washington or elsewhere in the country?
Unfortunately, yes. A large share of the American electorate believes that the election was stolen. The violence at the Capitol demonstrates that at least some people believe that violence is justified. There's a very real risk that violence will continue, whether in coordinated plots or lone actor attacks. That doesn't necessarily mean there will be violence on Wednesday at the United States Capitol. There's quite a bit of security measures in place, but it does present an ongoing risk of violence for the country.
There is a huge amount of security in place, we are told. You don't think that's enough to stop it? How could it be stopped?
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying there will necessarily be violence at the United States Capitol. I think there's a greater risk of continued violence in the United States as a whole, not just on Wednesday, but continuing well past the inauguration.
And how to deal with that? How would you suggest? I know you work with at least one former white supremacist.
Multiple, actually. So how do we address this problem writ large? We need to invest in local prevention and intervention programs across the United States. Family members need to know where they can go, where they can turn for help. And you're right, I chair the board of Life After Hate. I've worked with several former white supremacists, and nearly all of them have said that they left the movement when they experienced compassion from someone whom they thought they deserved at least. And so we really need to empower these local programs to do this prevention work at the local level, build those relationships. The more we demonize and polarize, the more we escalate this conflict rather than the de-escalation we really need right now.
So that's really long-term work. It's a lot more than fact-checking and arguing with people. Has it helped to remove a lot of people from social media? Presumably, you could argue it's helped the public discourse, if that's not too fancy a term. It must have made it harder for intelligence to keep track of extreme opinion.
It certainly can make it harder, especially as the extreme activity moves to more and more encrypted platforms over time. But the reality is, when social media companies take the actions they're taking, in some ways they are limiting the audience that is consuming this content. They are limiting the audience that is in that echo chamber, and that can at least have temporary impacts. And right now they're really trying to take down the temperature of this escalation to violence that we're experiencing.
Brette Steele from the McCain Institute. Really interesting to talk to you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.